Ready? Start. But according to the medical evidence, injuries on PW2 were caused on the evening previous to the morning of June 24. This takes away the basis on which he was accepted by the trial court and the High Court as an eyewitness, notwithstanding his proclivity to mix up falsehood with truth. A substantial part of the prosecution story has been disbelieved, and the conviction of the appellant rests solely on the testimony of PW2, who, as observed by the trial court, does not seem to have particular respect for truth and had mixed up falsehood with truth. His credibility as an eyewitness lay only in that the trial court and the High Court assumed that he had received injuries in the same occurrence in which the deceased was killed. That assumption does not appear to be very sound and is not borne out by the evidences on record. The defense plea that PW2 had received the injuries on the evening of June 23 and not in the morning of June 24 gains credence from the fact that an incident between the two sides had admittedly taken place on the evening of June 23, 1995. In the face of this admitted position and the medical evidence, it is difficult to accept that the injuries found on the person of PW2 were received by him in the morning of June 24. From this, either of two inferences would logically follow. One, PW2 was not present at the occurrence in which the deceased was killed in the morning. The occurrence in which the deceased was killed did not take place in the morning of June 24, and he was not killed in the manner as suggested by the prosecution. Both the inferences are equally damaging to the prosecution case. In view of the facts and the circumstances, it would be highly unsafe to uphold the sustain the appellant's conviction for the offence of murder, and the prudent and safe course would be to give him the benefit of doubt. Accordingly, he is acquitted of the charges under section 302 and 324 IPC. The next appeal is directed against the judgment of the Punjab and Haryana High Court in criminal appeals numbers 201 of 1996, confirming the appellant's conviction under section 302 of the Penal Code and life imprisonment. Start. On the fateful day, accused persons armed with dangerous weapons and bombs attacked the deceased and the prosecution witnesses. Appellant hurled bomb on deceased and he died on the spot, and others also hurled bombs and prosecution witnesses suffered splinter injuries. The High Court upheld the acquittal of all the accused except the appellant and convicted the appellant under section 302. Para. The High Court has not exercised the caution that was accepted to while dealing with the judgment of acquittal by the trial court. High Court was not justified in interfering with the well-considered judgment of the trial court. The judgment of the High Court is set aside and that of the trial court is restored. Para. The well-considered judgment of the trial court has been upset by the High Court and is its judgment. The High Court relied on the complaint. There is hardly any consideration in the High Court's judgment, more particularly of the mix-up of timings as regards the complaint. In the complaint, it is specifically alleged that the Telugu Desam party was led by the appellant. Both the parties had fought in connection with using the road, and the witness himself and his party people were accused in that case and were absconding. It is then suggested PW1 and other persons went to cart the paddy hay of RP, and while they were bundling the hay, the 16 accused persons came there, and the appellant A2, A3 were holding bombs in their hands. It was the appellant who hurled a bomb on deceased. The said bomb exploded and deceased fell down and died on the spot. Then the others also started hurling the bombs. PW1 then refers to his being hired by other accused persons with a hunting sickle and on the right knee with the spear. He then refers to an injury caused on his little finger because of the spear. He then refers to the police firing a gun. After that, he refers that all the injured came to the government hospital and were being treated. On seeing the evidence of PW1 in the light of evidence of PW14 head constable and PW15 circle inspector, the falsity of his evidence becomes clear. Though in his examination in chief, the claimed that all of them along with the women folk were taken in a tractor